welcome to the Perspectives in STEM podcast, the podcast from Teach STEM Global, where we spotlight the people, ideas, and stories shaping the future of STEM and STEM education in a movement to bring STEM to every child everywhere. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly West, the founder and president of Teach STEM Global. And together, we are shaping what's possible as we push for STEM for all, everywhere. So, for this episode, I I love this lady. Um, she is amazing, and I can't speak highly enough about her. But I better go into the my official bio because if not, I'll be talking to y'all forever. All right, so my guest today has spent her career proving that learning does not have to look like a textbook. Dr. Patricia Dennis is an instructor and director of the School Library Media Program at William Paterson University with a doctorate in educational technology leadership from New Jersey City University. She is also lead researcher for Garden State Esports, where she helps bring game-based learning into K-12 classrooms across the state. Her path started in Newark, where her own experience in the city's school system sparked a lifelong mission to make education more innovative and connected to the real world. That's something that we definitely need today. When she's not teaching, you'll find her on the basketball court or working as a digital artist. Please help me welcome Dr. Patricia Dennis. Welcome, Dr. Dennis. It's a pleasure to speak with you today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. West. Also, thank you so much for that intro. And for the most part, I am like in Pat mode, especially ready to answer these questions. So you could definitely call me Pat. That is perfectly
Oh no, ma'am, y'all don't know. She just graduated with that doctorate, y'all. So we're getting the Dr. Dennis treatment today. I get what you say too, because I tell people, well, just call me Kim. But I get what you're saying. We're gonna recognize the full you. Dr. Dennis. All right, she did that thing, y'all. She did that thing. So, all right, my first question for you is, can you tell us about your journey from growing up in Newark, New Jersey, to becoming an educator, a researcher, and leader in educational technology and STEAM education?
awesome. So growing up in Newark, oh my gosh, I am so proud and and I'm just so proud to be from Newark. So all of my education from pre-K to eighth grade actually was in one school, which is a 13th Avenue Elementary School. And that's kind of like what facilitated my love for like community in the education space. Majority of those educators there were teachers of my family and my parents, so and my aunties and all that. So being able to just grow up in like a loving school system really instilled in me that like community is the biggest part in schools that I feel like some schools hit them like missed the mark on. So being
Mhm.
able to grow up in the same school and actually like love every moment. I loved elementary slash middle school. It was amazing. So from there I had amazing educators. One I want to shout out, her name was Miss Lutz. That was one of my first innovative experiences of learn like exploring media with in ELA. So for context,
Mhm.
I don't mind throwing my age out there. I'm 31. So at the time I was in the I want to say sixth grade,
Mhm.
sixth grade. So you could do that math for yourself if you want. And that idea of like cameras in the classroom was not a thing. Like that we weren't like a performing arts, so we were a basic middle elementary middle school classroom in the back of lack of better words in the hood of the west wards of Newark. So like she made us do like a personal problem we write about our community. So it's one thing, you know, we see it every day. We walk over the garbage that we see on the floor. We walk past abandoned buildings. Like we walk past this stuff normally, which again is part of our community. She actually went outside and made us take pictures of it, and she taught us how to an ELA
Mhm.
teacher, which no, she is a white woman who made us really look at our community, and for someone who didn't look like us to make us really
Mhm.
kind of see that perspective. It was really wholesome and it stuck with me to this day. I still talk about it. So from there, even like my innovative science classes, I had my first ever black scientist teacher, Mr. Brown, God rest his soul, where he taught us
Oh,
the
wow.
chemicals and components of making candy. So it's like I got the best of both worlds of like my education and the language arts and the sciences. And also shout out to Mr. Kopaz, my principal majority of from my pre-K to seventh grade. He sadly retired before I got to eighth. But all those amazing people, which again in Newark, shaped me to. And I wasn't the best high school student. I'm not gonna sit here and say I was the best motivated student, but they instilled in me hard work, which I did that in the capacity of sports. I was a big
Mhm.
sports kid. If anything, I thought I was going to go to the league in different capacities. But I didn't. But again, that still going to school in Newark. I went to a technology high school, great technical school where I learned web design and other different technology skills, which I didn't even think that would end up being like something I end up getting a doctorate in. So from there went to college and continued on looking. I was a humanities major, I was an English major, so I did not start in STEM and tech actually. But everything was rooted in education. So went into the workforce and became an AmeriCorps member where I worked in underserviced schools, which I'll do a quick leap. That school that was my first ever school in Orange, ended up now that is the school I was previously just this past school year a school librarian for. So
Oh, wow.
they were my first like job in like the real world of education. And then I turned around and came back and been a librarian. It's like a homecoming. So just from my education in Newark, which I ended up going back and teaching in. Oh, Newark is a special city for, and if you know when you're from Newark, you know how special it can be. It can be a little rough on the edges, but it definitely showed that I can do anything as long as I put my mind to it. And I don't know, it's just a man Newark mentality. If we want to do it, we're gonna do it, whether it's good or bad.
And I completely get that because yeah, those are where we were brought up definitely shape us into the people we become, right? And so yeah, you've had a wonderful background experience. Like you said, I'm not from Newark, but I know where I'm from. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I know, and some people are like Columbus. Yes, I'm from the C bus, as we affectionately call it. Um, so one of the things I know you are just an expert in technology, and technology is something that some people, it's been changing a lot recently, especially with the introduction of AI and things like that. Um, I know, and you've worked in different roles within schools and in the work that you've done. Um, what lessons have you learned about successfully integrating technology into education? Because for some people, especially with some of these changes in AI and all these different platforms you can use, it's still like, how do I do this? So what lessons have you learned about how to successfully integrate it?
For one, and I guess, and I love that the fact that I come from a humanities background, I put people first. I
Mm,
am not swept up by the newest tech and not to boast, but because the type of platform I do have, the way I share on my social medias, a lot of organizations do reach out to me and I want to get it very straight. Yes, I understand my doctorate and my other education does allow me to give certain insights into technologies, but I'm by all means not, I wouldn't call myself an expert. I would say knowledgeable in implementation when needed. Um, I try to stay up on the latest fads of tech because, and this has nothing to do with my ed tech background. It has everything to do with me being a librarian. Um, we're curators of information, whether we're public librarians, school librarians, academic librarians. We have to curate information as it comes about in society, and technology is no short of that. So, kind of like my mindset of being a school librarian, I try to find what best works with my patrons, and for the most part, it's been my K to 7 students. As far as like even looking at AI, um, my biggest approach to everything is game based learning. And I do not teach students how to use a tool. I attempted that once and realized how much of an disaster it was trying to
mm,
teach students how to use AI and regulate it at the same time. It and again is not to say, oh, AI is horrible because I use AI in its capacity. But if it's not intentionally like and with any tech, whether it's hardware or software, if it's not intentionally like looked at from a human perspective, like the end user, it could be you can pitch it to be the greatest product in the world, but it won't do anything. And I've seen that with products for teachers and products for students. So I think
Mm,
at the root of it, at least for me in my practice against a school librarian, and I kind of want to take that with me in different capacities I could go, I root all my tech and my content. So like if I'm teaching agricultural literacy, I'm going to read articles. I talk to specialists, I read their research, I curate books, and I learn the content and I find a technology that complements it. And for the most part, I'm one of those people where I don't beat a dead horse. Or I if it's not broke, don't try to fix it.
mm,
I'm a big advocate of Canva. Though that's one of those tools where it's free necessarily and you can play around with it, which talking about Canva and flyers, please everyone give the AI flyers a break. Go have fun in Canva. It's enticing.
I
That's
just,
my
I just, like, I just saw an article about that last night. Somebody was saying, please stop using those. Yeah.
so and again, I get it. It's quick and easy, but it's just so like even looking at the background I made in Canva, like this is something. This was my dissertation presentation, and
Mhm.
my committee loved it because it looked like we were in the game system.
Yeah.
So, and it took me a lot of time to work on it, but I like to remix it and reuse it. But again, I look at that like, look at this. I'll use this same thing as a template and recycle like the text and the templates I use. I always go by what's easier for the person I'm working with. So that's how I kind of go about implementing tech. Like you can't lead with the tech. You have to lead with the person and lead with your community and what they need.
I like that because I think that's something that's missing in schools when we start that talking about the newest, latest, and greatest. It's not necessarily presented from the perspective of the human, right? The individual who'll be interacting with it um, or connecting with it, and so I like that. Yeah, you can tell you're a humanities person, which is what we need, right? We need still to understand this humanistic component of life. Not everything is numbers or codes or just
Mm-hmm.
something that, that's this has no feeling to it. No, we are very much, and I think that's one of the things too that, the challenges in AI too is understanding, or even just in the advancement of like the little robots and all the little things, like I see those
I don't like that.
robots.
I'm so sorry. I just like
I just
the robot kicked it in the stomach.
Yeah, I know. I think I saw that video. Like those type of things, like how do you infuse that human side of it? So I like that you led with that because I think that's something that's we get so excited with. It's this thing, but we don't understand that humanistic part. So I like to delve a little bit into what are some technologies you're excited about, that you like to use and that you would encourage educators to use.
So Canva's definitely one of them.
I love Canva.
I already I love it.
Yeah.
I know everyone wants to hear about AI. I'll be honest in my opposition to it. I try to be more ethical. Um, Yeah, a lot of more ethical in my choices with AI. I do not believe in using open AI for anything educational, or generative AI. I just don't. Um, whether it's students' information, your
Yeah.
pictures, I do not like it at all. So when I look at AI, I only use research assistance based AI. Like one of the tools I'll recommend is Notebook LM. It
Yeah.
is a Google based software where they do have a free version and I have a paid version where I bring in my articles that I've read, that I've researched, and it helps me kind of like make webs and things like that. And I'm not gonna, it generates images, but again, the images, which I like to preach, I reuse it all the
Mm.
time. Like I'm gonna always talk about my research. I'm gonna always have those images to kind of back up the things I do. So like it's not like for lack of nothing to kind of, nothing against the caricatures. They're cool, but
Mm.
you're putting your face in open AI and they're tracking you. So
Yeah, no, I saw an ad for it's an app. I won't say the app well, mainly I won't say that because I don't remember the name of it. But and it was talking about how content creators can make all these videos and things like that. And they were like, you ever wonder how, we can make these videos and we don't stumble? And I was kind of like intrigued, like, yeah, how do you do that? And it was like, all you do is like upload your picture and like it has your voice and then you just typed your script. And I was like, you had me until you said you're going to, basically be me. And I just heard a story on the radio before, before we got on about how someone had made a video of somebody like famous saying something that was completely not true. Now this person is having to go back and be like, that was not me. So,
Yeah, and I
I,
don't want anyone to catch me with anything or try to encourage. I have
yeah.
no.
So,
So those
yeah,
are AI tools that I would definitely in my stay away from. Even outside education, even content creators that are educators too.
yeah,
Side note, I'm currently at a conference, ISTE. It's one of the big
yeah.
International Society for Technology Education. And I had a panel where we talked about, we do all these cool things. We talk about tech, AI, gaming, but at the core of it is relationships with people. Like
Right.
it's humanistic. That's what it all boils down to. Like you can have like the end product or what's going on looks great, but if
Hmm.
but it looks great because it started with being human.
Yeah.
So kind of like that's my root again with all of this. We gotta lead with empathy and apathy and humanity.
Yeah. And I just I thinking about too, and because this is always interesting to me as an educator, and in your role working in libraries in this digital age that's changing, it seems like every day. We don't down here we don't call them libraries in the schools, we call them media centers. And so how do you see the role of school libraries or media centers evolving in this digital age?
So that is a really good question. That's actually what I was writing down some notes, but that one particularly stuck with me because that was that was a part of my literature review
Oh,
for
okay.
my dissertation. So that this like terminology of what we call librarians, whether school librarians, all in that bubble. We have been
Mhm.
called so many different things throughout the years since it has been established as a entity or institute of learning, or sharing information and knowledge that just like the name changes or depending on the location, the same way we curate information. Um, if you look deep into what I found in a lot of my a lot of my literature is that the we evolve with whatever society evolves into. It all depends on how society looks at us. That's honestly the big shift. Um, Most librarians, whether again academic research, they're pretty knowledgeable in shifting in technology and the like literacy spaces, whether it's physical and online. So it's not more so seeing the profession itself. I know they're going to be fun. It's what everyone else, especially governing entities, as you can see between libraries and museum institutes, constantly getting attacked for budget cutting. Um,
Yeah.
it's just what society deems how worthy we are. So, as far as what I see it, if hopefully society takes a positive trajectory of wanting to continue to spread the real data centers, which are libraries, museums,
Yeah.
um, the world will be going in a better place because that's one of those like school libraries and libraries in general is like one of those communal places where you can just exist. It's nothing of you that is wanted. Of course, in a school library, I wouldn't even say really grades. School librarians don't really give grades. We give knowledge in open space. But
Yeah.
there's spaces where you're not expected to have there's no expectation of you to give to communicate in the space. You're just in the space gathering information. And of course, being patrons in themselves is kind of like that giving to the community. But for the most part, it's the governing institutes, if they deem to see us worthy of the funding, of the support. And that's where I see kind of the profession going. It all
Yeah.
depends on what the governing institutes have in mind for us.
Let me ask you this question. I guess it's been rolling around in my head with our conversation and you talking about schools incorporating, all this good technology and stuff like that. Do you find, in your experience, do you find that students are reading actual books less, or and what does that look like? Like, and what is to become of this? Because I know as an educator, I see it and it worries me. Um, Students not having reading stamina, students not um having basic reading comprehension skills, or understanding the different aspects of literature, theme, or, all those things. What, what is your experience in that?
Um, yeah, because even check it's so much between not even just the kids themselves, but like trying to promote the literacy aspect because depending on what like I worked as an elementary librarian, so I was on a block schedule. So checking books out was darn near impossible.
Yeah.
And what students are reading now are like shorts of books. So at least in my experience, it's lack of funding.
Mm.
Um the books in my class collection are not the best and they don't meet the needs of the students. Um
Mm.
and when we think about reading books, like it's just introducing kids to the concept of reading. I'll say my younger students, grades third and under, I would even say fourth and under, they were pretty
Mm.
good like good reading staminas. If anything, I think it's just the excitement of making them love books again
Yeah.
and having different because during I'll say yeah, because during testing, my students did like my fourth grade students really got into their chapter books, but for the most part, it also needs to be practiced and modeled at home.
Yeah. I understand.
Um, it's the truth. It's that's kind of like what we see. Like it's we are humans. It's a learned pattern behavior. I grew up or just even learn pattern encourage behavior.
Yeah.
I was encouraged to get books as a kid. Like they gave us money. And of course, like we didn't have to read Moby Dick or the most academic books, but as long as it was some like we had books in our hand. So
Yeah.
was my family a bunch of avid readers? No. But they did support the idea of us reading. So like even going to book fairs, like the kids go straight for the journals. And I find that hilarious 'cause I'm like, are you
Yeah.
gonna write about the books you're reading? um, but bring it back more like fun initiatives with reading. Like more like book challenges that are intentional, kids can see. Working teachers and librarians like truly working together. So again, it's all what the governing institutes see the efforts that they could put in to help us promote reading more. But yeah, it's definitely a concern. I'll say also what I've been trying to do. If I can't get them to read books, I'm going to teach them how to read research articles.
I would suggest you read the books, children. I would suggest you read the books. As someone who's read the articles.
It's
Yeah, read the books. They're a little more fun. I would encourage that.
right.
Well, articles gonna be fun too, but yeah, I encourage them to read the books. And so, thank you for that because again, it's just something that has just always been on my mind as looking at kids. Because I know when I was a kid, we had the summer reading program, and getting those
Hmm.
stickers meant a lot. So much so that when I was a kid, I even volunteered at the library, and I could give the other kids stickers, just because that was because it takes you to another world, it takes you to other places, it opens your
Exactly.
mind to things. And so, yes, I know we have like technology, but if I could go back to some old school ways, I think our kids should definitely be reading some more. I think that's something we're missing a little bit. I do
A
want to
lot
talk
of it.
about, yeah, a lot of it. Okay, you're right. I do, I do want to get into your gaming and esports. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just a tad bit older. Not to say that I don't like video games, and not to say I've never played video games. I played video games, y'all. We had video games growing up, but it's just not my wheelhouse. So some people we look at gaming as kind of entertainment, but you see some educational benefits to it. Can you talk about some of those benefits you've seen from and that students get from game-based learning?
So at the root of it, I tell everyone when I look at game-based learning, games in any capacity, it's another education technology tool.
Hmm.
That's what I treat it as, and I implement it as such. Which again, had the conversation about can we make everything fun and exciting and entertain the kids all day? No. But if there's a complicated topic, which me talking at them is not getting them to like have the aha moment, I will throw Minecraft on the board and I will play it with them. And then they understand, like, oh, I'm like, yeah, that's what I meant. So with that, I see it as like this really cool like multimedia where you're not just end takers, but you're also a part of like the world. So for me, I look at games in the capacity, especially my biggest game, which that's kind of like my background thing, is Minecraft education. No, I want to put it out there because my students love to ask, oh, Dr. Dennis, do you like Minecraft? Do you love Minecraft? I'm like, I don't love it. Me personally, as a gamer, I am like a solo game player. Um,
Hmm.
I like adventure games. I that is again the English major in me. I like a good story game. I love manga and anime, so I play games that are based off like anime I've watched. So I like a good story game. But as far as the capacity of education, Minecraft education, oh my gosh, it's like the thesaurus and dictionary and just all those. It's so many. So Minecraft education is like Minecraft version, education version where educators and Minecraft organization itself make a ton of different lessons on different topics. It's from math to social studies to art to AI literacy. It's so much that like if you just take the time and you type in like your topic, they even have lesson plans to go along with it. So like as a librarian, I have not a lot of time on my hands. So having already pre-made lessons, I just have to adjust them to meet my needs. I usually match my games with like literature. Um, it makes research topics that I teach so much easier for students to comprehend. And on top of that, they can interact with the world. So as far as gaming, Minecraft education is like heaven sent. I love it so much. I actually plan to use it with my college students with hopefully we could do some community building in there. But Minecraft education, I would definitely you as long if you have an Outlook account through like your education account, I think you get a certain amount of times free
Hmm.
and you can explore the world. Um I did personally play for 20 licenses independently because I do kind of different workshops with educators globally. So I have those like on deck for people to log in temporarily. But yeah, if you go to Minecraft Education and you even look through their like .com and you look through their roster of lessons, oh my gosh, they have some like literally something like for everything. And then what's cool on top of that is different initiative programs. They have a part of it like another organization called NASEF, which is an esports classic esports federation organization. They partner with Minecraft to bring challenges like Rube Goldberg. Another one is
Mhm.
Farmcraft, with agriculture learning, so that's a part of STEM. So Minecraft is very versatile, which also they work on any device. So that was my starting kind of like game that I got into, which and again I still use it relentlessly into education. That was actually side fun story. I had an observation for when I was a technology teacher at a charter school and I was teaching my students narrative right because we were writing comics. So
Hmm.
it was an adventure of again Minecraft partnered with a writing organization called NANAWO, the National Association for Writing, online writing, and in the Minecraft education, it was articles from that organization you could click through, students could read through it, they could do like worksheet. Yeah, Minecraft is very interactive that way. And it's great because they could put links in there. So at the time, I had no idea what I was doing in Minecraft education. I'm like, you know what? We're going to wing this and let's hope we get a good observation. And that class, like I course, I facilitated and I led with the narrative aspect and why we're doing it. And again, I took the resources they had, like templates where students can write in. I put it on Google Classroom as an assignment. Again, templates they already made, and I had the students each one by one. I didn't get to everyone, but students who usually never talk in class came in, and I used Minecraft education at the time because we all didn't have it on our devices as like my presentation of material, and they each actively explore and convert. The class ran itself. I kind of just sat back, and my observation meeting, my assistant principal was like, "You got stars across the board," because I never seen like such a student centered lesson. Like, how did you do that? I'm like, that's a great question. And I just gave them the game, and I just taught them about narrative writing. So that was kind of like my unconventional way of teaching the students multimedia technology and reading and analyzing and writing all kind of in one. And that was like probably the highest score I got on the observation, because again, it was so student centered and it all came from me kind of giving up the technology and giving it to the kids because they knew what they were doing.
First of all, I'm just sitting here mind blown because, okay, when I used to teach sixth grade earth science and our first unit was like rocks and minerals, the kids would always come to me and be like, "Did you know?" and tell me some stuff from Minecraft about rocks and minerals. And me, not a Minecraft person. First of all, okay, children don't listen. Sometimes I would pretend to be like, "I know." I did not know. Don't tell the kids that. Don't tell on me. But they would always come to me and tell me different things they learned from Minecraft. And so I think for me, this is, not that I'm averse to technology. I love technology. I'm trying to new things all the time, and incorporate that in the classroom. Um, I admit sometimes I'm like, "Woo, this is too much." Um, but I love that. And that to me is just something that I know will definitely look into and share that resource with my colleagues. 'Cause I didn't know that was a thing. That's just, you know, no clue that this Minecraft education thing was a thing. Um, and that's something that we can use and has tools available that you can just, so you've definitely taught me something. And then so thinking about that, so how can, schools and districts create this type of learning culture where we're integrating technology, integrating gaming into their schools and districts?
Oh, this is such a very convoluted question because
Okay.
it's
I get it. I get it. Give me your
administrators, please listen to your people. They know what they're doing. I promise, especially your go-getters, your troublemakers. They're making trouble for a reason. The
mm,
kids love it. The kids want the trouble, but it's good trouble. Um, go outside. Start in before you go out to go get professionals, because your
mm,
professional is in the classroom already. They just need you to support them to be extra professionals. And
mm,
like I said, I had the luxury. Well, majority of my administration, except for one, and I'm not going to put the school out there, but majority of my administration, from the charter school to our current school now, they were always supportive of me bringing my innovation in different capacities into my teaching practices. So administrative, like it's okay. Like come, you can listen, but also I want to put it on the educators, the troublemakers. Come in with a plan. Come in and tell them what you want to do. Outsource yourself, outsource the things you want to do. Continue to be a lifelong learner. Um, I think was also which maybe I might be going back to K to 12 at some point. Who knows? But I think sometimes some educators get stuck with I'm teaching the same subject and they want the same. No, no, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a librarian, because there are librarians who just it's just books. There are everyone's not a magical tech media multimedia fairy
yeah.
librarian. Some are like the what
Yeah.
we think you just sit with books, which again there's nothing wrong with that. We need every type of library in the world. Um but you're gonna all like the world grows. So as long as the world grows, you just keep adapting to it and working with it. Of course, not saying like change who you are. You
Yeah.
keep the core of like what makes you the educator, but adapt to meet the needs of the kids. So that's my administrative educator. Researchers. I also call on you in these STEM fields. Become more communicative, join fellowships and organization, volunteer your time to work with teachers in different capacities to showcase your research. Because unfortunately, there's the middleman that likes to block and wash out some information. So,
Yeah.
because that was one of my biggest assets, actually, agriculture. I've done agriculture units in the library, and I've also done polar literacy, and this came from actually talking to researchers at Penn State who are researching bees in different countries.
Mm,
A whale oceanographer researcher who's actually using like whale mammals to track climate change. Like talk to these researchers, and researchers talk to these educators. Like that's how you get community roots in, and how
right.
you continue to make the learning organic. And not saying you still gotta go by the law and the textbooks or what they ask of you, but you
Right.
can outsource your librarian, outsource your public library, and just continue to want to be a lifelong learner.
I love that. I can't say now, but at Teach Them Global, we are working on a few things to kind of, not kind of, but to start building that community. Um, and so just be on the lookout in the next month or
Super
so.
excited.
But because I think that it is so important, people always say to me, Kim, well, you have like you're both a a practitioner, and you are into the policy world, so you can navigate both. Because I that's what my doctorate is in education and policy, but I'm also have worked in the realm of a practitioner, and so being able to put all that together, and even doing, looking into research and things like that, it all has to work together for the good of the student. Because sometimes we find ourselves in the on the receiving end as an educator, or in that role as an educator, being told something that a researcher has done or explored or whatever, and you're like, but that doesn't necessarily apply to me, or that may not be generalizable to the work that I'm doing or in my classroom. And so we really need to start kind of working and talking with each other. So I applaud you on that front. And I know you said there's some high flyers or troublemakers, but what would you say to teachers that are still, we still have some teachers that are a little bit hesitant to engage and step outside of um, their traditional way of teaching, or how they've done things for years. 'Cause I'll be honest with you, when I first started teaching, um, 20 years ago, there was nothing more that I wanted other than a file cabinet full of lessons I could just pull from, like, but that was the thing, to be like, I can just pull from this. But what would you say to those educators who may feel a little apprehensive to get their feet wet, and whether they be a new teacher or a veteran teacher?
Um, you don't have to get your knees wet, just the tools. Start in different capacities. And that's with just, yeah, you can't just dump someone in water and expect them to swim. Uh,
Mhm.
you meet them where they are. And I feel like that's kind of like one of my many life philosophies, whether it's in my professional life as an educator or people on the street. Sometimes you just gotta meet people where they are. So with that, I meet them with their need is. Again, because of my role as a school librarian, I have a special, my space is special where, hey, this resource looks cool from the library. Would you like to try it in a lesson? Um, Not trying to dump things on them. So
Yeah.
fun kind of, I would say like side Anadu, one of my favorite educators from the squad just came from Mrs. Williams. She's the old school teacher, but she's so fun and she likes to do hands-on tactile things with kids. She is not a tech savvy woman and she makes it very clear. And I realized like this older woman who again, it's not that she doesn't want to change her practice, it's just that you can't just dump her into a new practice. And that's what kind of anything you want to try to do. I met her where she was at. I taught her how to use oh my God, what was the tool? I can't even tell you the tech tool, but she was so apprehensive to anybody trying to teach her anything tech. She was
Mhm.
so defensive. But when it came to me, I met her where she was at. I showed her cool things. Like I showed her how to find him. I think it was a Google slide, like a simple Google slide. And I showed her how to do like GIFs and pictures and videos and embedding and just to make it look fun. And I'm like, I made it. We played around on the computer. That's literally what it was.
Yeah.
So that idea of, again, this is a teacher who I won't say is apprehensive, and I don't think people are asking. I think it's kind of fear. Also, the idea that some teachers just don't like being in the not know. Well, do not like being in the not know. So the idea of learning something new, I won't really understand it. I like what I'm doing. The kids turn out fine. That kind of instills in them.
Yeah.
So the idea of why do I need to, like, I know I said it before, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it's I wouldn't say it's broke, but we can, you know, tweak it,
Yeah.
tighten, screw a little bit. So with that, I always say chunks, little baby steps. What is a lesson? I will say that you think like you just can't get through. It's a drag. Like it's just a drag. I would say look at something. One of the biggest things is I always say something I like. I know everyone doesn't like, I don't want to call them kiddish things, but things of your childhood. Find something you like to do. And the kids might like it too. And honestly, that's what kind of like games and my love for anime kind of comes to the classroom. It was just so happened me and the kids like the same thing. So find something that you would enjoy doing. Don't make it like a daunting task. Like I always tell people, don't try to jump in and try to make a game board in your classroom. Unless like
Right.
you're writing and it's a part of like a component, like you're doing it step by step. But for the most part, find one little thing you want to do. Find professional in your school, most likely your librarian or your tech coordinator. Find a professional developmental couple. YouTube is amazing too. And then see where it
Yeah.
fits. Like make it just a part of like one little, like a half of a unit, and see how
Yeah.
it works for you. And then
Yeah.
keep working in that practice, and then it'll grow as you feel more comfortable with it.
I love it. I said I love how you said you don't have to get your knees wet. Just get your toes wet, right? Just kind of just get in there just a little bit. Just try it out. Don't
Just a
be
little.
just a little bit, just a little bit. S- So I know we talked a lot about teachers and educators. What would you say to students who um who see themselves as good students, but maybe interested in STEM, but don't really know where to go with that. Don't see themselves as future scientists or engineers. What would you share with them about how they can pursue their passions and pursue STEM and see themselves in the future, maybe a career in STEM?
Get creative with it. There's no one way to do it. Is I would say I would consider myself a late bloomer into STEM. And
Mhm.
again, in which I found a lot of like tech people, and some STEM people, they start in like the humanities. One of my favorite, and I wrote her social handle down. One of my favorite like astro science communicator influencers on Instagram. Her name is the Astro Stud. She is so
Uh,
adorable. She's amazing. She had a bachelor's in like at like something in physics and science, but she had a minor in in English and creative writing.
oh wow.
So that communicates. So one thing I would tell students, get creative in what you study.
Hmm.
Even outside of STEM and STEAM, because everyone's going the basic route. Like I said, with me with STEM and STEAM, of course,
Yeah.
I fall in the realm of education, but also like I said, I was in the middle of the ocean with wells. Like I like to call myself an experiential experiencer of the STEM fields and a science communicator. Yeah. So you can do a little bit of any, like I say, find something you're interested in and see what
Yeah.
the subcategories are. Like one of the examples, um my dissertation chair. She has a doctorate in education technology, but her background is
Oh,
in
wow.
music education.
Oh, wow.
And she did internship work for a teacher program um at NASA. So between organizations like NASA and different things like that, uh, there besides just the hands-on scientists or the astronauts, there are people who are science communicators. There are people who are graphic artists. So I always say that's where the idea of which I always preach, content and skills and technique can go hand in hand. Like you may study oceanography. Like I tell my younger cousin, he loves working with animals. He wants to be a veterinarian. And again, not
Mm.
trying to down him with veterinarian school, but I'm like, that is really hard. And
Right.
that's not the only way to work with animals. We need zoologists. We need photographers of these animals. We need so many different things in these
Right.
fields that are the behind the scene work but are just as fulfilling. I know it's all from STEM, but like for my example with esports, um just to make it clear, I do not do any capacity, which everyone likes to walk up to me and ask me advice. The organization I work for is very known, Garden State Esports, for Scholastic Esports.
Yeah.
I don't do competitive gaming. I don't like it. I like gaming for leisure. I like gaming for learning. And again, competitive gaming is amazing what it does for community building with students. I don't work in that capacity of esports. I work in the capacity of research
Mm.
around the topic of esports. So I know esports well enough that I can do research on topics around it. And again, that same concept goes with STEM. You may, again, be an English major, but you might minor in oceanography.
Mm.
You might be a double major. Um, so an example, like with me, when I was getting my first master's in English writing studies, I was simultaneously doing a technical communications certificate at NJIT, and that's where I learned that. Oh wow, using technology and online spaces to communicate and engage with people, that was my foot into the door of technology. And
Mm.
that's how I kind of got to learn about it. So there's no wrong way to do it. Definitely depending on what you want to do, you might have to do certain certifications if you're going to like the health sciences or whatnot. But for the most part, research a lot of researchers, they come from backgrounds of photography and just like have an interest in animals. And then, like I said, taking the idea of lifelong learning, you'll never stop learning. You'll
Yeah.
just learn how to do it in different capacities and whatever emerges. So I'll have fun with what you choose to major in. If you want to do the STEMs, pick some humanity to go on with it. Organization Polar Steam, they are choosing artists and creative writers who
Mm.
write and create in these spaces because like we the big topic of climate change, like that has to be
Mhm.
communicated with people because unfortunately people are scared of scientific jargon. They are.
That's true.
But if someone has it in a song, if someone's creating art, if someone's making graphics, it's
Yeah.
more communable to the community. So with STEM, there are jobs I want even though I'm saying in the background, but beyond just being that
Right.
typical scientist. Someone has to write the textbook. Someone has to design the graphics. So find something you really love and partner with the STEM concept that you really want to dive into.
I love it. I like that too. Like you said, there's so many other opportunities out there to than just the main thing, right? There's so many other ways to engage and find a career path that interests you, in a topic that interests you. It doesn't have to be like you said, a veterinarian. There's so many other things that you can do. I think this because I think so highly of you and what you think about technology. What is one thing every educator should remember when working to inspire this next generation of learners? Because there's some teachers that go, these kids today are different. I know I've caught myself saying that sometimes, like, ooh, these children are different today. But what is one thing you think every educator should remember when working to inspire this next generation of learners?
So with that, two things can be true at once because these children are definitely different. And my generation isn't like too far off.
Yeah.
As far as like, okay, um, they're human.
Mm.
They're the most, even as interesting as they are, and the generations to come are even going to get more interesting. They're human. They're the most vulnerable population we have. Um, the world is really cruel to them.
Mm.
Um, Not saying you got to be the world savior, but sometimes, one thing I
Yes.
always tell my students, and I always ask them, why do you guys think you love me so much? Like, because you're nice, you're funny, you're friendly, you are approachable. I'm like, yeah, you all describe traits of a human being. So definitely, of course, which it was a phrase one of my colleagues just said today in our panel. Uh, Rules without relationships breed rebellion. So
Yeah.
with that, when you meet students as humans, sometimes that means meeting them where they are. They might that where they are might not be the best place, but they
Mm.
genuinely see you. That's the best thing. Which I'll give you a quick kind of like a little ending story to that. I had a student where I had her every Monday. She was my fifth grade and sixth grader. Oh my gosh, this girl gave me every attitude in the book. Smart as a whip, but like that
Mm.
sense of anything that was authoritative, she just had to combat it. But when it came down to her peers, it was kind of like she submits. So
Mm.
with that, towards the end of so me and this child butted heads every Monday. And when I had her on Monday and Fridays, we butted heads every Monday and Friday. And it wasn't because the lack of well, it was lack of work, but it was just the idea. I told her like you can't walk through life like that, especially because unfortunately you're a young girl of color. Like no one's going to be nice to you. So towards the end of the year, which she had her moments where I'm like, okay, you can be sane. So again, this is my last year, and I kind of did a fun activity with the kids of just some questions that made them think about me. And one of the things was, what was something interesting about you? And she said the most interesting thing she found about me was how much I love doing what I do. Like she's like,
Oh.
you're the only teacher in the building where I see that you care about your topic.
Oh,
Like you
wow.
care so much. And I'm like, kids see even when we think like, oh my God, this child is
Yeah.
giving me every attitude in the book. She doesn't care about my class. That's what she chose to want to say to me. And I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "Yeah." Like, she's like, "You're, like, smart, but, like, you don't, like, rub it in." She's like, you're just passionate about what you talk about, what you teach us." And she's like, "I find that so interesting about you." And I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
"Thanks." So so kids
Yes.
watch, they pick up on
They
everything,
do.
and, not saying I'm every child's favorite because I have children that they know when they see me there, I'm very much, I'll love you and we can do a key kaka, but I don't do disrespect and I will meet you where you are if
Yeah.
that's so how you want to meet. So, with that, just a student like that being able to recognize that. And again, she was one of my competitive students. Like students watch you, they
They
see
do.
you. So not saying I had days where I came and I visibly showed my human emotions where I just wasn't having a good morning. But I didn't let that dwell on the students. And
Yeah.
also they were able to see that I was human. So the idea of which I feel like a broken record. I've been saying all this. Everything is centered in humanity, understanding students are people, the most vulnerable people, and how you show up for them is how they'll show up for you. Because sometimes no one shows up for them at home. So
Yeah.
they pick it up and they know when you care and you don't care.
I love that. I love that story too. Like you said, the students do watch. They do. You think they're not watching. They're watching you. Well, I kind of feel like you've answered this my last question, but I'm still gonna ask it anyway, because maybe you'll have a different answer. But I think you kind of answered it. For our listeners, if there's one takeaway or key message from today's conversation, what would you want that message to be?
Read, um, read anything. Um, I can break it into such quick way. As far as educators, you matter. Uh, we all see each other. I see you. Um, Even going to higher ed, I know that, and I always tell my students, have the utmost respect for for any educator in different capacities. So you are seeing, I know the world, I know our administration may not see you, but you're doing humanities work. You're preparing our next group of leaders and humans. So don't give up. And if you do leave the space, leave it to want to bring more back. Leave it to solve the problem you've seen in it. Don't just leave it to leave it. Like if you really do want to see a difference, leave it and come back to give something back. I think that's just role as lifelong learners and educators. Administrators, support your librarians.
Yeah.
They were pretty cool people. Support us. Um, Librarians, be innovative, continue to grow with whatever society gives us. And I don't have to tell you to be lifelong learners. You guys are going to read books and learn anyway. Um, Students, lead with empathy and apathy and read a book. Um, Read to learn about other people's perspective. Um, Look, children that look like me who may come from an underrepresented community, yo, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. When
Mm.
people tell you education doesn't matter, please don't listen to them. As a young girl from the west sides of Newark, where the highest education, most of my family, well, I do have first cousins with college degrees now, but majority of my family, high school, maybe. Education is your key to success. Malcolm X was right. It lets you into so many doors that people try to keep you out of. You don't have to be the smartest in the room, but don't be the smartest in the room. Always be in the room that's always evolving. So education is your key. Get it where you can before they try to take it all away.
You're a person after my own heart because I agree. I'll constantly evolve, keep moving forward, keep moving, keep learning, keep growing, keep going. It doesn't stop. I don't care, even at my age, I'm not going to ever stop learning. There's always something every day that I'm like, wow. So
Exactly.
yeah. So Dr. Dennis, I cannot thank you enough for your time. Like you said, I know you're at the ISTE conference and I know that's fun. A lot of good networking going on. So I hope you have a wonderful time while you're there. Can you please let our listeners know how they can connect with you?
Of course. So I'm on almost every platform because again, that's the way I got my students to do work. I will put things on TikTok. So
Okay.
most of my
Okay.
handles, TikTok, Instagram thread is ed tech with period Dr. Pat, and my Pat is special. I spell it with two T's because I'm extra. So you can find me there. I'm on LinkedIn at Dr. Patricia Dennis EDD. If you look up anything with Dr. Patricia Dennis games on a search engine, you'll most likely see me pop up. If you see a young brown woman with high cheekbones, that is me. I do sometimes look like I'm 12 because I like to wear bows, but I promise it is me. So I'm on almost every platform, and if you want to check out some cool things, I'm also on YouTube as well. You can find those in some of my social media links.
All right. So that's a wrap for this episode of Perspectives in STEM. A huge thank you again to Dr. Dennis for sharing with us today. Again, thank you. If this conversation sparked something in you, please do me a favor, subscribe, share it with a teacher, a student, a STEM professional, whoever needs to hear it, and leave us a comment. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast for future inspirational episodes just like this one. Remember, every child deserves the chance to explore STEM. If you'd like to be a part of that mission, visit teachstemglobal.org to learn more, volunteer, or donate. I'm Dr. Kimberly West. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep building a brighter future. STEM for all, everywhere. Thank you again, Dr. Dennis. I appreciate you and your time.
Thank you for having me.